Welcome to another episode of Mystic Mondays. I'm your host, Monica Bay, also known as the Healer in Heels, ready to bring you into the world of all things mystic. Join me for a journey of spiritual growth, enlightenment, and self-actualization as we explore the wonderful world of mysticism where no gifted soul gets left behind. If you'd like to call in live to the show, dial 678-495-4345. And now, get ready for Mystic Mondays with me, Monica Bay. Welcome to the first episode of Mystic Mondays. I am excited to be here, and this show has been a long time coming. So, hello, friends at 99.1 FM, WDJY, and also from WTTA at 101.2 in Kentucky and Ohio, and also to all of you watching at home. I'm Monica Bay, also known as the Healer in Heels, and I'm an energy healer, psychic medium, purpose alignment coach, and a hypnotist. I was born with many spiritual gifts, and I have worked on developing them into powerful tools over the past 25 years. I named the show Mystic Mondays because I have a passion for mysticism and personal and spiritual progression. So for those who may not be 100% sure what a mystic is, let me tell you. A mystic is someone who seeks enlightenment, a deeper spiritual connection, and self-actualization. It is someone who focuses on elevation of their soul and spirit, but also reaching their fullest potential while they're in this physical plane, because both are important. The creation of this show is important to me because I have been given a life purpose to help people reach their fullest potential and unleash their greatness. This show is going to be one of those avenues that help me do just that. So I am excited for today's episode. We're going to talk about what it means to be a mystic today. We're going to discuss the ins and outs of energy healing and learn a few techniques to help you build more powerful intuition, and so much more. It's going to be a great show, so let's get into it. My guest today is Kelley Knight. Kelley is the founder and CEO of the Modern Mystic Shop here in Atlanta. She is also an energy healer, psychic medium, and a crystal expert, and so much more. She helps people build stronger intuition and with her intuition building program. She's also the co-founder of a book on manifestation coming out in 2020. Nice. So Kelley Knight, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be on your first show. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. This is so exciting.
This is huge. These conversations need to be happening in a bigger way. So I'm so glad you're ushering in this program.
Yes, thank you so much for being here, and I'm excited too. So I'm really excited to have the opportunity to actually discuss mysticism.
Yes.
Because I think it's extremely important for people to understand what it is.
Right.
So I get a lot of things where, when you ask someone what they believe a mystic is, or you just use the word mystic in front of people, you get a lot of crazy answers, right?
Wide range.
A wide range. So I earlier just said, what my definition of a mystic is. So I would love to hear what your definition is.
First, I think it is something deeply personal to each person that's on the spiritual journey. But for me, it's really people who are trying to experience life beyond their 5 physical senses.
Yes.
It's really understanding that there's a whole terrain, there's energies outside what we can perceive. Mm-hmm. And when you kind of connect with those energies, be it ancestors or whether it's spirit guides, angels, even, nature, it can enhance your experience, and it's part of what it's like to be a human.
Yes.
And so to me, that's what a mystic is. And we focus on modern mysticism because here we are in this new era, we're like new wave mystics, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're sort of defining what that means every day in the moment.
Yes. Very true. Very true. And really it's about that, when I say deeper spiritual connection, that's no matter what religion you are, you can be, a mystic doesn't mean that you're any particular religion. You can be any religion and be a mystic. I always say to people of like the Christian faith, Jesus was a mystic.
Yes.
That's exactly what he was, right?
Yes.
And there's so many, Buddha was a mystic. Muhammad as a mystic. So from every religion, you can, point to the leaders of that religion as mystics, because they're really focusing on that higher power and that higher, deeper connection within themselves, because we also have a higher power within ourselves.
Yes.
But then there's that higher power outside of ourselves that we connect to. And when the two coalesce together, that's when
that's
everything
it.
happens.
That's the dream, right? That's the goal, is to have that integration.
Yes,
For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think we're on the same page.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are, for sure.
That's very cool.
So why do you think that mysticism is important for people in their individual lives and, outside, and really for the world? Like, what is your opinion on that?
I believe that it's part of our birthright, really, to connect with our spirituality. And for whatever reason, through the past centuries, or thousands of years, we've kind of been disconnected from that, right?
Yeah.
And I think we sort of forget that we are spiritual beings, and it's not emphasized, right? We're really focused on our 3D, tangible life of doing. And, there's that quote, "You're a human being, not a human doing." So, like, it's really to be human and to connect with the spiritual side of life is what it's like half of the human experience. And so if you're disconnected from that part of yourself, or if you're if there's fear, linked into that side of yourself, you're really missing out on your fullest expression of yourself and experience what it means to be human, in my opinion.
Yeah. And in part of that experience, when you talked about fear, so many people deal with fear, on a daily basis. And part of being a mystic is really also about pushing past that fear, and being able to really master that part of your life. And that's always, as you said earlier, that's the dream. Like, that's always the goal, as in terms of self-actualization. How can you reach your fullest potential?
Right.
And that is battling those, those things inside of yourself and around yourself, and really trying to reach and become the best version of yourself here in this physical plane while being a spiritual being.
Right. And I think part of spirituality in this new, I don't like to call it the new age, because I feel like that's sort of like the old name for, like, in the 60s and 70s about what we're up to. So I like to call it the now age.
Okay.
So
I like that.
So sort of like in the now age, I forgot where I was going with that when you were talking. I was like, I was wanting to get to a point there.
Yeah.
Wait, what were we going? I totally blacked out. We were talking about.
Now I forgot.
Oh my gosh. I went on this tangent about the now age, so we can talk about the now age. But it's just so important in this new time to, like, reinvent and reemerge, like, what this means, I guess. And that's kind of the conversation we're having, and maybe the rest of it will pop in as to where I was going with that.
Yeah, well, we were talking about fear.
Oh, fear. Yes. Thank you. So I think, thank you. That's totally helps me understand. I think part of, like, the shadow side of this industry, the wellness industry, the spiritual industry, is to sort of bypass that fear, or, like, those emotions or those fears are lower, and, like, you're supposed to be, like, high vibe all the time. I also think part of being a mystic is actually getting to the root of those fears.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And being able to sort of, like, grapple with that in a more conscious way, as opposed to letting the fears, like, wrestle you to the ground and, like, sort of drive the car of your life.
Yeah.
There's a huge piece of that, the healing piece of that, which is not to be afraid to even go there and look at those things, because when you uproot them from the source, then that's really where you get healing.
Yes, and I'm a huge proponent of that. And as you know, I'm an energy healer as well, so we're like soul sisters.
Yeah.
so that is the key to healing, to any kind of energy healing, is finding that root.
Yes.
Because you can throw a bunch of medication at something, you can throw a bunch of techniques at something, but until you get to the root of it, then it doesn't go away.
Yep.
And so, being a mystic and working on self-actualization is all about, finding the root, getting rid of those things so that you can then ascend.
Yep.
And, and move on still while you're in this physical plane and dealing with that fear. A lot of people are afraid of darkness. They're afraid of the dark parts of themselves. And so they ignore those things. And to ignore those things is doing you a disservice.
Right.
Because you have to face those things in order to battle them and in order to conquer them.
And can you really ignore them? Because we know the universe will keep serving it up, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you can choose to sort of partner with these lessons and kind of agree.
Yes.
What you're willing to work on, or you just kind of get served it up in real life, and either way is fine, right? Because you're gonna have to face it one way or the other. One sometimes, when you're more proactive, it might be maybe a gentler process. But yeah, you can try to ignore it, I think. I think we've all tried that.
Yes, definitely. Well, up next, we're going to get more into Kelley's personal story and energy healing right after this. And you can now watch and listen to all of our shows 24/7 at uimediaapp.com. Later today, don't forget to tune in at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to Jessica Joines interviews founder and executive director Ashley Jones and founder and CEO of 5 Mile Run, Lori McIntosh, on the Soul Purpose Show. Stay tuned. You're watching Mystic Mondays. Oh, she told me I thought that you were telling me now to do that.
Download the UI Media Smart app at uimediaapp.com to watch and listen to all your favorite shows anytime from anywhere in the world. Shows that enrich, entertain, educate, and feeds the conscious cells throughout your body. We bring you never heard before topics in health, inspiration, music, psychics, numerology, current affairs, controversies, and much, much more. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.uimediaapp.com and start raising your frequency now.
Back to Mystic Mondays. Welcome back to Mystic Mondays. I'm here with our guest for today, the wonderful Kelley Knight.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are discussing mysticism and how powerful we are as human beings.
Yes.
And you're an energy healer, and so am I. Like we said, we are soul sisters. And I'm always, I always find that healers, from my perspective, healers, every time I meet a healer, they always have a similar story where they came into their healing because they had to heal themselves or something, drastic happened in their lives that put them on that trajectory.
Yes.
So I'm going to assume you have the same story.
Yeah, I think that's, I think you have to be that way as a healer. I would almost not trust a healer that hasn't healed themselves, right? I feel like, pro tip, if you're going to, find healers to work with you, let's make sure that they've done the work on themselves to be able to hold the space and be able to, bring the best energy, for your personal process. But yeah, for me, that was definitely the way that it went. I found myself in my mid-20s and I had all of the checked all the boxes of what life was supposed to be like. I got the great job and I was making 6 figures at a young age. I had the boyfriend and the car and the condo, and I was so unhappy. And I felt so betrayed in a way, because it's like, wait a minute, like I did all the things that we're supposed to do, and yet I'm not feeling that level of purpose or fulfillment that I was promised to follow that course.
Yeah. So many people find themselves in that situation.
Totally. I'm sure a lot of the viewers might be even experiencing that right this moment. And so I really went on this trek to figure out, how it is that I can get more out of life, how I can relate to myself better and get a better sense of purpose and fulfillment. And I went on this journey, and it was a healing journey. So I had my experiences with Gestalt therapy and depth psychology and energy healing and tarot and over, it's the short version, but I've been doing, some form of this work for over a decade now. And these just created a toolbox for me to be able to help others. And I think, once you experience a modality and you feel it works so, perfectly for you, and you see your reality change because of it, it's really hard not to want to share that with other people.
Yeah, definitely.
And so when I even learned my healing modality, it wasn't even for the purpose of healing others. It was like, oh, this really works. Like, I'm working with this great practitioner. I can learn it and use it on myself. And then I was like, I want to share it with whomever is available, because I'm seeing such a profound change in my life.
Awesome. So tell the audience what your healing modality is, because there are a lot of different ones out there.
Yeah, there's a million.
Yeah. And so, which one do you...
So it's called the reunion process, and it's actually not very well known. The founder of this process actually is from Atlanta, and that's where I learned it. His name is Peter Schupman. I think I'm pronouncing that right. But what it does is it guides you through muscle testing. So your body, through kinesiology, will guide me to where the stuck energies are. So whether it's in your physical body, whether it's in your energy field, your chakra system, acupressure points, and then it sort of, we were talking about the seed source or the root of issues.
Yes.
It also will guide me to where the issue came from. Is it past life? Is it this life? Is it a trauma? Is it, an ancestral? Like, does it coming through the lineage? And so at the same time, we sort of heal it from the seed source, is what they call it, and then also from you in current and present day.
Yeah.
Because as you probably know, time and space isn't really linear, right?
No, it's not.
So if you heal you, you're actually healing generations frontwards and backwards of your lineage. And the same thing goes, if you can heal something from your lineage, let's say from an ancestor, you benefit.
Yes.
And everyone benefits. And so that's sort of like the short version. So it finds the seed and then it matches it with the proper facilitation. And we use the frequency of the heart, grace. It's really the energy of grace to transmute whatever that is, whether it's through guided visualizations. We call them imagination events, but they're really sort of like, visualizations, because your imagination and intuition are linked, and you can actually, shift things that way.
Definitely.
Sometimes it's acupressure. Sometimes it's even like essential oils, or it's just like it puts every kind of modality almost into one. Okay. And then it's like a big toolkit, and then you can pull on whatever's needed for that instance.
Okay, interesting.
I hope that it's specific enough, but there's a too vague.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
No, because as you know, I'm an energy healer, but I don't practice one particular kind of energy healing. Right. I kind of mix a bunch of things together and have created my own. Yeah, so I like it when I hear when things are mixed, because I find so many great techniques in so many from all over the world, and so many different ones. And so I like to mix them together, bring the best of all worlds into one, and really help people.
Interdisciplinary or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
Like that,
exactly. Sure. So you had mentioned earlier about past lives, and I just want to touch upon that really quick, because a lot of people don't understand that sometimes when we're dealing with things, it's not always from this life.
Right.
And I find a lot of times, not all the time, but from time to time when I'm healing someone, I find that their issue is actually from a past life that they're bringing into this life. Sure. And that their soul has then, carried forward into this life and is an issue. And I'll just give you a really quick story example of how this can happen. So, I do past life regressions. I'm also a hypnotist, as you guys know, and I do past life regressions. And I had a client that had a fear of driving, and it was only over bridges though, and only over a particular kind of bridge. And she didn't know why. So we did a past life regression. I didn't know that, I didn't even know that she had this fear at the time, because we did the regression just because she wanted to do a regression on something else. Yeah. So, but during this regression, we found that in a past life that she had actually been a man who had committed suicide over a bridge that looked just like the ones that she would get. She would have panic attacks when she would go over this kind of bridge. Right. So once we were able to heal that issue, she didn't have a fear of bridges anymore. Yes. So that's just a perfect example of how a past life issue can affect this life. Yeah. And so a lot of times people are dealing with phobias, they're dealing with all kinds of stuff, and they're not sure, well, I don't know. This never happened to me. I don't know why I have this phobia. It just is. There's always a reason why something is. So nothing just is. Yeah. There's a reason why. Any type of thing that you're experiencing, any type of limitation that you have, or obstacles that are in your way, there's always a reason why. And so again, it's about the root.
Yes. Yeah. And so to build off that, so yes, there's the whole past life means of which we sort of inherit things. And then also I've done a lot of work with through the lineage, and it's actually scientifically proven. There was a study where they had this generation of mice, and it's a little bit animal cruelty kind of, but they would shock the mice when they smelled this specific, I think it was like roses or something. Okay. And then those mice had a generation of baby mice, and then those had a generation, and those mice would have a similar fear response to that scent, even though they hadn't been traumatized and made that association. Okay. And so we're learning about epigenetics, et cetera. So you also get these traumas that are generational traumas. Yes. Through the lineage. And so oftentimes when you feel like, oh, it's not mine, it's like, it's yours now, but it didn't originate with you.
Exactly. And then that leads me to cellular memory, which epigenetics is a lot about. But, when the fact that you have your chi, right, that you get from your parents. That's called original essence chi. And then that mixes with the chi from the food that you eat and the air that you drink. And all of that becomes the chi that flows through your body. So that chi that you got, that's part of your original essence. What that is on the molecular level and the cellular level is its cellular memory. And so you can, or cellular memory is contained within it rather. And so everything that your ancestors have gone through, in a sense, is within you, because, you know, the cells start there and then they just divide and become who you are.
Oh, interesting.
Right? And then when you have offspring, those same cells with that same energy coding, that same cellular memory goes into, you know, to make the child that you have. And so it just passes on from generation to generation. It's more subtle, but for some people it's more real.
Yeah.
So
it's really interesting, and we're just so dynamic as human beings. We've got all of these. It's not easy to be a human.
It isn't.
It's not easy.
That's the challenge. That is the challenge of living a human existence as a spiritual being.
Yes.
And so again, that's what really being a mystic is about, is tapping into that spiritual side of yourself, that essence of who you truly are, because what we are is just spiritual beings inside these human avatars. That's what I always say. I call it avatars, because that's really what we are.
That's really cool. It's so dynamic, and I guess also part of being a mystic would be to take responsibility for these things, right?
Yeah.
So instead, like the sort of like the inversion of it is like, oh my goodness, I've inherited all this stuff. I have all these past life traumas. I'm just screwed.
Yeah.
And really, like, what being a mystic is like acceptance, right? Acceptance, okay. And Marianne Williamson says that phrase. She said, you know, it doesn't matter how you got it, it's yours now. So it's like, and then taking the responsibility to do the healing. And that's the heavy lifting you're doing on behalf of your lineage, right?
Yeah.
To help your ancestors have come before you in future generations, or I guess it's all simultaneous generations, but that's another whole
Exactly.
whole conversation.
We're going to talk about parallel universes, but
yes.
But yeah, I think that's so important to just, you know, pay attention to it for people, because also when you heal yourself, you're passing on, I don't want to say better energy, but you're passing on more clean energy to your offspring.
For
and
sure.
And really, you know, you're able to really be self-actualized and actually reach your full potential.
Yeah, I think it's really generous work. I always say that in like the book that we were writing, we explain that a little bit about that. It's like really generous work, because you're kind of up leveling. I don't know. I kind of do feel like it's like you're kind of up leveling, and you're clearing out, like you were saying, the traumas, the familial issues, the physical, everything, you know, and it's sort of like when you go camping, they say like leave the land better than when you got there.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that, similar, right? It's like leave your lineage better than when you got here.
Yes. And if we can all do that, the world will be a better place.
Yes, for sure.
So what made you, as far as your healing modality?
Yeah.
So you had all these other healing modalities to choose from. What made you choose that one?
And mainly because it worked so well for me.
Okay.
You know, I was seeing different practitioners who, you know, that were doing this sort of modality with me, and I was seeing like my life change. I was seeing my relationships change. You know, at first, a lot of the work I was doing had to do with my paternal lineage. Like every time they found the seed source, like father's side, this many generations back, next week, father's side, right? I could actually see the relationship with my father in real time deepening, and he was softening, and he was more open. And that work was able to heal like the now, right? And so I was sold on it because it was worked. And I'm very much an experiential person. I don't teach things that I haven't experienced myself. You know, I don't read books as much as I like to try things. And so the experience was very profound and real. And so I chose a healing modality that, you know, clears trauma through the body, because that's what I found too, is like a lot of it's stored. It's like stored here.
It is, definitely.
And so I loved that, you know, I could kind of unravel it from my body and, you know, move forward from there. So I tried it and it worked. And so I said, I got to get more of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did it help you? What, if you don't mind getting into more specifics of how it actually helped heal you, and what it healed you from?
Sure. I mean, I would say like my, you know, it's all relative, I guess, like trauma and childhood experiences, but I didn't have like the easiest path, and I didn't have like much of a sense of family, because I was raised by a single mom. I was separated from my dad, and it was just a little bit tough. And I would say like through this healing modality, like I mentioned, I was able to sort of clear the deck with my dad and rebuild as an adult affection and relationship with him. And now he's one of my best friends, I was able to really, the best thing that happened to me actually is my psychic gifts opened up through, when I was learning this modality, it took a year and a half to get certified. And every day I worked a session on myself. So it's hundreds of sessions.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a coincidence that like during that period of time, I had a pretty abrupt psychic awakening. So I felt like, I could clear out all the pipes and then something better came through. And I was more connected to myself and to spirit and to everything. So
Awesome.
that would be the big one, I think, too. Because people always want to build their intuition, right?
Yes.
So it's like, heal yourself.
Yes.
That's a great first step.
It is, because when you are blocked, you can't. You're not going to be able to access your spiritual gifts.
Right.
You're not going to be able to access that intuition that, by the way, everyone has. Everyone is psychic on some level. Just some people are more psychic than others.
I would agree.
Naturally, but everyone has the same potential. And so, when you have these blockages, then it's hard for you to, literally that your chi can't focus properly and can't run and flow properly in your body, which will then start closing your third eye and create, even more blockages.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So it's important to work on yourself, and we're definitely going to get into the intuition building.
All right.
In the next section.
Okay.
But first, before we go into that, so tell the audience a little bit about what type of that healing looks like in terms of the services that you offer.
Oh, well, I actually don't currently offer many of those healing services because our store blew up like so big, right? So we've got Modern Mystic Shop is like our is my primary business at this point. But previously I was offering those energy healing sessions through the reunion process. And then I built the Modern Mystic Shop brand through my tarot reading too. So basically what happened for me was that, when the intuition started flowing very readily, I developed a different relationship with tarot and my intuition. And I could be like very spot on with these readings, which are also really healing for someone too. Like do you do reading work? Like where you...
No, not really. I use my psychic ability while I'm healing people, and I use that to tap in and see everything.
Yes.
Everything.
Can't hide anything from Monica Bay.
No, you can't.
However, for me, it really, I have also found that like the reading process with people has also been really healing, because you invite them in. So when you do this healing work, your aura becomes like a healing energy, and even someone stepping into your auric field is healing in itself. And then being able to connect with my intuition and deceased loved ones for the clients, etc., has also created a really healing experience. So for me, that's kind of how my trajectory was. It was like I was doing healing on myself. It opened my intuition. Then I could actually offer these services for other people. And that sort of built my reputation as the quote unquote modern mystic, where people actually have come up to me and be like, "Are you the modern mystic?" I'm like, I guess I'm one.
Yes, you are.
I'm one. I'm not, I don't know if I'm the modern mystic.
You are the modern mystic.
I'm the you heard it here first. And so, it allowed me to be able to create an audience and a community for the physical space. And my husband calls our shop our altar. It's like we create it, you take it from like the ether, and then you ground it into the 3D, into our sacred space of our shop.
Yes.
And so that's so now my energy is mostly working with growing our offerings, growing our products, growing, we wrote a book that's coming out in about a year.
Awesome.
I know, it takes so long for it to come out, though.
It
It's like I'm just sitting on this treasure that I just want to share with the world.
It is a treasure, but it'll be shared in the perfect divine timing. Yes.
So they tell me.
Definitely.
Or whatever the literary calendar, whatever the publisher calendar.
That's still divine timing.
I agree. And so that's sort of like how I use my intuition and my healing now, is really like putting my chi, putting my energy and my aura into our products, into our services, into raising up other intuitives. So we've got probably at least 10 tarot readers now in our store, where they can sort of like, they can offer their healing gifts. And I feel like just walking into our store is a healing experience. We play mantra. We're like on the slide, because like mantra music and that sound current can be healing just by being somewhere. So I've kind of translated it to creating a healing space, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. So up next, we are going to get into intuition building. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And we will definitely get into that. And so up next, that's what we're going to talk about, and we will see you in a minute.
See y'all.
You are watching Mystic Mondays.
Do I need a realtor to help me sell my house? It's easy to find a house, right? Does this sound familiar? Are you and/or your significant other staying up too late, scrolling through your phone on one of those real estate apps, searching through 15,000 homes in Atlanta? It's okay. This is what most of my clients are doing before they call me. It can become frustrating, stressful, and hard on your relationships. So if you want results, you can contact me on my Facebook, Melissa Smith, Remax Regency. Hope to hear from you soon.
Welcome back to Mystic Mondays. We are here with Kelley Knight, founder and CEO of the Modern Mystic Shop. And we are having a pretty awesome time.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome discussions today. I hope you mystics and mystic hopefuls are ready to learn some great techniques to help build that intuition. Kelley does what she calls intuition buildings with people in a program that she has that runs here and there through the Modern Mystic Shop. So can you explain what the program is and how it works?
Yeah, well, first I want to kind of go back to, if you don't mind, when you mentioned like everyone has this intuitive ability. And so that's the basis of all the work that we do at Modern Mystic. It's like, how can we get you more in touch to be your own healer, your own mystic, your own psychic, your own shaman, right? And providing the tools. And so that's sort of where these the first one I taught was in, out of state, but it was so that we can help people really click into their intuition, because I was teaching people how to read tarot and they were still kind of really stuck to their books, their guidebooks. And I'm like, put that down, lady. Like, let's really connect with your intuition, because that's when the magic really happens. The combination of like the study, because you have to have a good foundation.
Definitely.
With your healing work, it's like you learn you learn the technical aspects of how to do things, and then your intuition takes it to the next level.
Yeah. And I'll share a quick, little personal story.
Yeah.
So when I first started really, really focusing hard on developing my gifts and my mediumship ability and my psychic ability, what I did to do that was I went to a local shop and I started doing readings out of the shop. I started doing psychic readings and mediumship readings, and just through doing that, I got so good so fast.
Yeah.
Like, it really, really heightened everything, because all kinds of people were coming in. And I would have to, read, everyone and be accurate. And so it really, really forced me to grow my skill set. So I hear what you're saying perfectly.
Yeah, for sure. And that really echoes some of the tips that I would give. So my first tip would be what we already kind of brushed up on, is finding a healing modality that works for you. Whether it's, you find a healer that you really resonate with that helped you move past some of this trauma, whether it's a yogic practice, a meditation practice. Actually, everyone that wants to build their intuition, all y'all need to be meditating. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but...
Oh, no, I agree 100%. That is working your muscle.
Yes.
It's a muscle. It is a muscle.
Yes.
Like I said, we all have it. But the psychic ability, intuition, whatever you want to call it, some people call it the gift of prophecy, whatever you want to call it,
right? It's
psychic ability, it's a connection, and it's a muscle that you're working.
Yes. So that's basically my intuition building tips that I give for people, is how to stretch that capacity and how to stretch that muscle. So my personal practice with meditation is Kundalini yoga. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I do practice that a little bit.
Oh, you do? Yes, I love it. So I am a Kundalini yoga practitioner, and I attribute a lot of my success and how fast our shop has grown, and some of these opportunities that have just been next level that have been showing up due to that Kundalini yoga practice, because it does a few things, and it helps build the intuition in a couple ways. Number one, it helps clear your energy field of the ways that things get mucked up. So it's really a practice that focuses on your 10 bodies. You've got 10. You only thought you had to worry about one. But one of the main one being like your auric field and your arc line.
Yeah.
And so have you been familiar with the arc line?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe your viewers might not be. So there's something that's called an arc line that goes from earlobe to earlobe, and men and women both have this arc line, and it's depicted in like the iconography for Christianity. When you see the halo, that's really like an arc line, a depiction of someone's energy and arc line. And then women have a second arc line, which goes nipple to nipple. So it's your arc line right here, which is why ladies, I'm not trying to be scared, make people scared, but you have to be careful who you let in your arc line, like when it comes to intimate relationships.
I tell people that all the time.
Yeah, because it actually kind of stores it like in this area. And there's ways in which through Kundalini Yoga, I'm sure other practice, you can kind of dislodge it, but it's important. And then there's a third arc line that most people don't actually ever get, which is at the feet. It's like the ascended master, sort of Jesus, Buddha. And that's why people bow, because when you bow to them, you're trying to get your arc line into the master's arc line. And you get your arc line into there, and you can kind of pull it into your aura. So how Kundalini Yoga helps is it will help to clear. There's one meditation that I love to do that helps clear the arc lines and then gets all of sort of like that interference out of the way. It strengthens the nervous system because in order to sort of just function at a high level as a human being in this chaotic state and be calm and present enough to center yourself, to even connect with your intuition, it helps sort of fortify the nervous system. It fortifies your auric field, and it actually creates a lovely barrier in a way, like of expanding your auric field and holding it. And that also will help with manifesting success, because a lot of people, they can make it rain for a second and then it kind of slips through your aura. You've got to grow and strengthen your auric field to hold on to that. So pro tip number 1 is meditation, and my specific remedy I love is Kundalini Yoga. I have a teacher, she's a mentor of mine, named Guru Jagat, Gurujagat. She's not a guru, it's just like her spiritual name that was given to her. It means teacher. Guru is like to take someone from darkness into light. And so if you're looking for a meditation practice, that's one I can recommend, that it does all those things. And then specifically, if you could Google her name and the arc line meditation, I don't want to like hit the mic, but it kind of takes you up and over. And you do this for anywhere between, I like to do at least 11 minutes, and you sing this mantra that will clear your karma and your arc line to get you really, really clear for your intuition to come through. And so usually in this program, I take people through that meditation and that practice. And you should do it a minimum of 40 days.
Oh, wow.
Every day.
Like Buddha, 40 days.
Don't skip a day. If you skip a day,
we're watching you.
You go back to day number 1.
Yeah.
And it's like a triple threat with like enhancing your nervous system, clearing your arc line, and then also, which allows you to get more centered and grow your intuition.
Awesome.
Next is like what you were saying, doing the readings. I love it when people find a divination tool like tarot. For me, tarot changed my life and my trajectory. But it's like going to the gym every single day for your intuition.
It is.
And so it doesn't have to be tarot. For me, it was. And a lot of people come to me to learn things like that. I taught a class yesterday about reading tarot, but it's a way to keep on connecting to your intuition and going back again and again and strengthening that muscle.
Yeah. Can we really quick, I want to touch upon tarot, because a lot of people have so
love
many
to talk
misconceptions about tarot.
Let's talk about it, lady.
So let's talk about how tarot actually works.
Okay.
Because a lot of people think it's these like magical cards that come down from the sky and then they'll just tell you your future. And that's not how it works.
Not in my opinion. I think so tarot works like a lot of different ways. The less mystical way is, okay, I'll tell you the less mystical way, and then because I'm a modern mystic, we'll go into the mystic. And this is Mystic Mondays, right? So,
exactly.
So like the non-mystical way or less mystical way is that, you can use these cards to see what your unconscious mind sees. Because when you look at these cards, and there's so many symbols and colors and ways in which to interpret, if you're not a student of tarot, it can actually give you very valuable information about your unconscious. Because that's sort of you're seeing through those eyes in a way when you look at the tarot. I mean, people use it that way, and it's perfectly acceptable. I like to believe that tarot is a way to click into either your higher self, a divinity of some sort, or even the collective unconscious. It gives you a way to communicate, to click in there. And it's always funny to me that people think certain things about mystics. We can talk about some of those stereotypes as well if you want
exactly.
to.
Let's go into it.
Yeah, we can. But what's interesting to me is that, I love to pray. I'm spiritual, non-religious, but I still pray. And you can pray and you can hope for the answer to just drop out of the sky, or you can pray and then ask for the answers through a tool that is it's like a communication tool.
Yeah.
Which makes it a lot more tangible.
Yeah.
So basically with tarot, I do believe that you kind of click in to whatever your higher power is, and the cards that show up are not coincidence. And they're so accurate that I'm always in awe of it's like people, when I read for people, how'd you know that? I'm like, it's right here in the card, just like how you see. It's like it's like a way for me to see. And then depending on your level of, or interest in psychic abilities, for me, the tarot creates a doorway to the information.
That's how I see it.
Yeah. And that's how it works for me. So I could probably do psychic readings without tarot and intuit, but it gets me straight to the point right away. And it helps me very quickly see the first thing I pull when I read for people, which is I only open 20 slots a year at this point, but is that I can pull to see right away, mind, body, spirit, what's really happening. Because, people will come to you with all sorts of stories or what things they want to work on, but the cards will just lay it out. Boom, boom, boom. This is what we're here to talk about today. So that being said, I have done thousands of readings, and it's always enhances my intuition to the degree sometimes I can actually I sort of feel like a stretching here and in the back, like the front and back aspects.
Like an opening,
Yeah, I can, because it's and that's sometimes how I know, I did a few too many readings today. It's I need to button this up a little bit, give it some TLC. But finding a divination tool is a really great way to practice and to strengthen those muscles.
Yeah. And so why don't you give the audience also some other divination tools because there's so many divination tools that are available out there. So what are some of your other favorites besides tarot?
I mean, I am a tarot specialist, and I've really gone all in on this
She's
tarot.
100% tarot.
For me, it's very on brand. Okay. So for me, it was tarot. You can use oracle cards.
Yeah.
You can use runes, which are ancient symbols that are usually carved into stone or something like that. I would love. Okay, so here's a divination tool that might be controversial in how I think of it. Some people use pendulums as a divination tool. Because I come from a kinesiology background with muscle testing, I kind of think it's more of a muscle testing tool than a spirit-led tool. But I know there are a lot of people that think it's a spirit-led tool, which I'm open to as well. What's your opinion?
My opinion of pendulums, when I used to have a physical wellness center in New Jersey, and when I used to do healings in person in the wellness center, I used to use the pendulum to help scan the body for energy blockages, because the pendulum would move in different directions and do different interesting things when it would go over negative energy or energy that was stuck or spinning backwards or anything like that. So I would use it for that, but I never used it I've tried to use it for divination before, but because again, similar background, I understand kind of a kinetic connection there. You can, I know that my mind can move the pendulum. So if I want it to say no, it's going to say no.
So it's tricky.
So that's why I don't trust it for that.
Yeah, it's tricky.
But some people use it and it works well for them.
For sure.
Yeah.
You've got to know your sophisticated way when it comes to divination that you'll get the answer you want, and you just got to fess up to it and know.
Yeah.
You just got to know, I'm going to probably, see it this way. So that's why sometimes it's great to get a professional opinion, right? Because you can make the cards say anything or a pendulum do anything.
Yeah. And because you have to interpret the cards too, that's where some people get confused. But I always tell people it's your first intuition of what you first thought when you saw the card. The first thought is always the right one. It's when you start to second guess, well, it could also mean that. It's when you start to confuse yourself. But my personal favorite divination tool is just my mind.
Oh, how do you do that?
I just tap in and I see things, but that's because I've really developed it over a very 25 years. I've been developing my abilities, so over a long period of time. But I still use oracle cards personally for myself every once in a while, and some tarot. I have 15 decks at home, so I just pick one if
fun.
I feel like doing something. But
well, then you kind of reminded me of you check into your mind. I would say another tool that I try to teach people with my intuition building class is if you can just get an internal yes no That's like all you really need for a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to your intuition. And that could be either like paying attention to your body. That could be like some, if you're more clairvoyant, you might see green for yes, red for no. So that if you can come up with that binary system, we can talk more about that in a bit. It will get you very, very far.
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, we should definitely get into that
Sure.
in the next segment. All right. So up next, we are going to talk a little bit more about Kelley.
My favorite subject.
Learning more about her and more about what we're talking about today. And if you would like to call in for questions, we're going to have questions in the next segment. If you'd like to call in with a question, you can call 678-495-4345. And you are watching Mystic Mondays.
Hi, this is Amy and Gina from In the Burbs, and we want to talk to you about your roof. Do you have a sexy roof?
If you have wind damage or your roof is older, or are you looking to purchase a home and want to make sure the roof is in good shape, you need to contact Roofing and Exterior Solutions. #SexyRoofs.
#SexyRoofs will inspect your roof, take pictures, and give you a free estimate, and they will handle the insurance process.
#SexyRoofs have been in business for over a decade and have always been right here in Georgia.
Their crews have been with them forever. They really are experts for anything roofing. Contact roofingandexteriorsolutions.com or find them on social media at #SexyRoofs.
Welcome back. We're having so much fun here with my guest, Kelley Knight. Okay, so let's get back to it.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. So, you call your store the Modern Mystic.
Yeah.
Why that name?
Well, it actually started as an Instagram handle because,
Okay.
like many of your viewers might be, I was afraid to let people know that I had this mystic sort of side, and it's more than a side. It was like really who I was, and so I was in marketing, and I had all these clients, and I didn't want them to know that I was pulling tarot cards to sort of like see the energy of their promotion or like their social media post and how it'd be received. So I created this.
I love that.
Yeah, I created. Well, I was using. You got to use your tools, right?
Yes.
And so I created an Instagram account called modernmystic_tarot so that I could sort of build community digitally because I didn't know people here that were really into it and still remain anonymous. And then, what happened for me is I started helping people in such a big way that I didn't even care about the haters or the people that had these misconceptions because it was like I'm on purpose right now. Like I'm on my mission, and that's going to be that has to outweigh any sort of fear about what it might be like or what people might think who I am or whatever.
Yeah.
So when I started, my tarot business, I opened a little studio. It was normal, it's like I was already branded that way. And then when I opened the shop, of course, it's going to be Modern Mystic and Modern Mystic Shop. And I think it perfectly describes what we do. It's like taking this mysticism that's as ancient as humanity,
It really is.
From the beginning of time, we were working with the directions. And notice when the sun rose and the moon phases, etc. And then applying it in a way that's really approachable and available and not scarier and behind the velvet curtain.
Yeah. And that's something that I'm passionate, and that's really one of the reasons why I started the show also because, and I decided to call it Mystic Mondays and use the word mystic, even though there's a lot of misconceptions around that word. And people are like, oh, some people are, afraid of it. They don't know what it is, or they just picture someone levitating. They're like, oh.
That's not bad either.
We'll be levitating in a minute.
Yeah,
but
that's in the next segment, off air.
The next segment, yeah. But I get a lot of that. And even, starting this, some people were, curious, like, oh, because they know what I do in my other stuff that I have going on. And I haven't showed that much of the mysticism side yet. Right. So now you're seeing it. But yeah, so that I understand what you're saying about, coming from corporate, right? I have a corporate background as well.
Yeah.
And then, stepping into this but when you're on purpose, like you said, and when you're really living your purpose and that, there are people waiting for you.
Yes.
And that's why you're here. And so,
Yes.
forget all the people that don't understand.
Totally. And when I was getting the store ready, when you say there's people waiting for you, I would close my eyes and envision the space, and I could feel the people lining up outside the door. And I just knew, like, I just need to open the door and turn the lights on,
Yeah.
and people are waiting. And
Wow.
that was a way that I could connect with my intuition. I still use that tool when I'm ideating a product or a class or whatever. I sit there and I think, can I feel them? And if I don't feel them, then it's not time or it's not useful. And if I do, it's like, all right, this is the direction to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
So one more thing, I just want to also point out again, if you have any questions, you can call in now at 678-495-4345. And it looks like we have a question. We have
Who
a
is
caller.
Hi,
Hi, caller. What's your name?
my name is Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie. I'm Monica.
Hi.
Hi, Monica. How
Hi.
are you?
Good. Thank you for calling in.
Of course. So my question is, I've been dealing with a lot of stress, and I'm just wondering, what are some tools that I can use that'll help me deal with that on a daily basis?
Okay. Do you want to take that or do you want me to take that?
I've got so many
ahead.
suggestions. Okay, so number one, I would say the meditation practice is very helpful with that. I would also say, I don't know what you feel like about this, but we sell a lot of CBD products in our store that has been really helping people in a natural way calibrate their nervous system. We have like these receptor sites in our brain that are just waiting to be matched with the CBD, and we have really helped a lot of people manage stress and anxiety that way. But it's not for everybody, but it's
Yeah.
perfectly legal, and we've been really been able to treat people. And then I can recommend some crystals, like working with certain crystals.
Yeah.
So anxiety is very helpful to work with. Amethyst, especially if you do like an amethyst smoky quartz combo. And then I would also work on sort of like grounding and boundaries. I don't know. What would you say?
Well, definitely crystals work very well, and I definitely agree that CBD helps with stress and anxiety. But also, I think you said meditation in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's like number one.
Yeah.
For stress and anxiety, meditation is key. And then also, doing some, visualization and energy work on yourself, because everyone has the ability to do energy work. You can learn how to balance your chakras and things like that. And when you're able to do that, your stress levels go down
Yes.
significantly, and you're able to manage your stress better. But then also, I think more from a practical standpoint as well, is looking at what your stressors are in life and seeing what you can do to change those things and what you can do to improve those things. And also, a lot of times stress comes from fear.
Yeah.
And so what can you do to have more trust and faith in yourself that will quell that fear? Because fear is always about lack of trust.
Yeah.
Because if you trust yourself 100%, there's nothing to fear.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, ladies. I've never thought about it that way, and
Oh.
you've given me some good things to think about, so thank you so much.
You're
Thanks for
welcome.
calling.
Thank you for calling in.
Of course.
That trust piece reminds me of another, tool for building your intuition, which is, I wasn't trusting my intuition, and my husband one day just was like, "You're always right. So just why don't, instead of assuming that you're wrong, just assume that you're right,
Yeah.
even for like a week. And if you're wrong about something, who cares? And
Yeah.
you've got to sort of like build
You're
that.
human. You're allowed to be wrong
Yeah,
once in a while.
right.
Yeah.
So it's like if you can build that trust muscle, just like you build your intuition muscle, and start looking for the evidence instead of looking for the evidence of where you discredit your intuition.
Yeah.
Look for the evidence when that validates you,
Yeah.
because it's there, and don't write things off as a coincidence or like
Yeah.
that was a really huge practice for me.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like we have one more caller. Caller, you're on. Hi, this is Monica.
Hi, yes, my name is Star. I'm calling in. I wanted to just I feel like I've been having mystic abilities,
Okay.
and I've always been intrigued by the mystic community. So lately I've been having like flight visions and whatnot. So how do I get involved in the community?
Okay.
Where do you live?
I live in Powder Springs, Georgia.
Oh, Well, we just happen to have a modern mystic shop, just a hop, skipping, and jumping away from Powder Springs. And so we have community there. And every Sunday we bring in different teachers. Maybe Monica will come one day. We have free classes from 11 to noon on covering all of these sort of topics about intuition building, tarot, ritual magic. I mean, everything under the sun. So I would recommend joining us in person since you can. And then we call it Sunday school, and people have made it their church. And people will go out to lunch afterwards, and people make friends and find like-minded folks. So I would say for Atlanta there's a place called the Center for Love and Light in Atlanta. And Jamie Butler runs that place. She's a psychic medium, and they have wonderful classes and events to find like-minded people.
Awesome.
So if you're looking for community, you're in the right place.
Yes, and community is so important. So that you definitely check out the Modern Mystic Shop for sure.
Yeah, and if you don't live here, for the listeners or viewers who don't, we have a podcast called Sunday School at Modern Mystic Shop. So we cut all the live classes and put them into a podcast, so you can kind of catch up. Yeah.
Okay, great. Nice. And how do they find that podcast?
It's on iTunes and Spotify. I always want to say Shopify. Spotify. And it's called Sunday School at Modern Mystic Shop, or on our website, modernmysticshop.com. You can click on Sunday School.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
All right.
So tell me more about the Sunday school, because I love that. I love that the concept that it's a physical school that people can go and learn, things about, mysticism and they're reaching their full potential.
Yeah, so we try to, we pull in some of the greatest teachers in the Southeast, or if there's any authors or deck creators that are on tour, they'll come through. But it's a free class. We have many, many topics, anything from, relationship to food, to energy healing, to, we have had several mediums come in and teach. But it's a really great way to build community, and everyone's so gracious. We've got the best customers and community in Atlanta, and they're really helping us they're part of our mission of making this stuff mainstream. And that's really why this shop's open. And that's why I'm putting myself out there, is to sort of demystify the mysticism.
Yes, I love that. Demystifying the mysticism.
Yeah. And then also really to help people integrate, because the first phase of my mission, I feel was sort of let's make this mainstream. And now that we're doing that to a degree, people still feel segmented. They say, I've got this intuitive side, and then I got to show up to work on Monday.
Yeah.
And now I think phase 2 is how to hold both, and how to integration.
Yes.
And so I think part of that is showing up in person with your face and saying, I'm a mystic and I'm at Sunday school, and not just, hiding it or only showing it to a few folks like I did for so long. I wish I would have, shared it earlier.
Yes, definitely. And there's so many people that want to segment their lives when they're into more, more spiritual things, and they want to feel like they have to keep that in hiding, or they have to just keep that part of their life separate from the other parts of their lives. And, I'm here to tell everyone you can be both. It's okay to, be whoever you are, and also, be a mystic and embrace the community and embrace your abilities. It's okay to be what looks like I'm putting air quotes, a normal person, right?
For sure.
Who lives a normal life, who does normal everyday things, but also has spiritual gifts and also taps into those gifts.
And you don't have to use those gifts. I'm a healer and a yogi and all of that stuff. You don't have to quit your job and be a Reiki master.
Yeah,
you can bring it in to the banks, to the schools, to the office buildings, and from the inside out, we shift the culture.
Yes. And then I am also a firm believer that, though, when people have spiritual gifts, that it's there for a reason, and that it's part of their purpose. But to your point, it doesn't mean that you have to traditionally go and, I'm a psychic medium, but I'm not necessarily going. I started out that way, doing readings and stuff like that, but I don't do it right now. So that's not how it looks like in my particular profession. But some people choose to do that and some people don't. So you don't have to do it. You don't have to utilize your abilities the same way that everyone else does.
Yeah.
You can find your own path through that. And because you're unique. You're a unique human being, and you're here for a reason. And your purpose, the gifts are a way to get to your purpose, to achieve your purpose.
Sure.
And it's in your own way, though. It's your own path.
Yeah, and it's really my prayer that people take it with them everywhere, from the soccer fields to the boardrooms to the churches, everywhere.
Yes. So tell people how they can reach you and
Yes.
everything you have going on.
Okay, so we mentioned Sunday School. So on Spotify and iTunes, it's called Sunday School at Modern Mystic Shop. If you like Instagram like me, it's Modern Mystic _shop. Our website, we ship worldwide, modernmysticshop.com. I'm trying to think what other, and in person. So we're in Ponce City Market. So if you live in the Atlanta area, we have people that travel here. It's a Ponce City Market and Modern Mystic Shop on the second floor.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, you guys will definitely have to check her out. And this has been a wonderful, wonderful show. Thank you so much for being here.
So fun.
Yes, it's so much fun. You shared so much really good information.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. You have been watching Mystic Mondays, and thank you for being here and sharing your authentic self with us all today.
Thank you, Monica.
So if you would like to connect with me, you can find me on all social media at The Real Monica Bay. And if you'd like to join the happiness movement to receive weekly tips on mastering your... Thank you for watching. You're watching Mystic Mondays. See you next time. Thank you for watching Mystic Mondays with me, Monica Bay, also known as the Healer in Heels on United Intentions Media Network. Want to see more of me? Be sure to follow me on all social media at The Real Monica Bay. Join me next time on Mystic Mondays as we continue to elevate and illuminate all things mystic. Until next time. Stay updated on all UI Media shows at www.uimediaapp.com.
The United Intentions Foundation and its associates take no responsibility for the opinions and statements made by the talk show hosts or their guests.